If you're one of my regular viewers, you know I'm a James Cameron girly, and thus, you should have been able to predict that I was going to be a Lord Debling fan.
Forgive me, I should not have said that.
Do not apologize. In fact, I find your frankness immensely refreshing.
I'm going to have a baby. Right now.
Hi, I'm LadyJenevia, and on my channel I like to talk about entertainment media. By the time you watch this video, I will have probably posted somewhere around 5 videos about Bridgerton Season 3 Part 1, only because I'm not allowed to speak about Part 2 until the review embargo lifts, even though I have plenty of things to say. Can't even give you an "it was good" or "it was bad" general feedback about Colin and Penelope's complete love story, because social sentiment is also under embargo.
Nah, yo, hold my poodle. Hold my poodle. Hey, yo, what's up? Y'all got a problem?
Does that mean that others will follow those guidelines? I would guess no, considering how many things I've observed being leaked from the Do Not Reveal list for Part 1 ahead of the review embargo lifting. Can anyone tell me if there were this many leaks ahead of Season 2? Because that was my introduction to the world of Bridgerton. I just know that I got my press screeners, I published my review when the embargo lifted for Season 2, and that was that.
It makes no damn sense. Compels me, though.
But one of my Season 3 Part 1 opinions that I have had to keep to myself for basically a month is the fact that Lord Debling, why is he kind of...
You saved my life. Thank you. Thank you.
To everyone who has been consistently tagging along with my coverage of Season 3 thus far, thank you. I appreciate those of you who will have been leaving your feedback saying that my videos have made it so that you're going to think more about the well-being of workers and how the business side of show business impacts the creative process. I don't actually really care about convincing people to agree with me about which characters or storylines I favor more or less on Bridgerton, because ultimately all of those things are trivial, but if I can get you thinking about the well-being of workers who make the art that all of us enjoy, I will take that as a proof of a job well done.
Because we are collectively organizing to make sure that it's gonna be bad.
I'll remind everyone that needs to hear it that number 1, at the time of recording this video, I am completely forbidden from giving a full opinion on Colin and Penelope's relationship, even if my opinion were to be hypothetically, as a complete love story, it's cute and satisfying when all is said and done. I would not be allowed to say anything like that until Part 2 is released on Netflix. I explained all of the context of that in my first Season 3 review, although I'm just going to assume that not everyone is listening to the context that I've given. What I can say, because it doesn't involve opinions or social sentiment about Part 2, is that I want Bridgerton to be successful, because if Bridgerton succeeds, business people in show business will see that there's a market for romantic fiction, and then they're more inclined to greenlight and fund more romantic fiction, preferably on film. Please, I want to go see new rom-coms at the cinema.
Fine, a nickel for every time I got in a fist fight during a chick flick.
But above all that, I want Bridgerton Season 3, and more specifically a Pollen season, to be successful, popular, and saturate the zeitgeist, because that means there's more eyes on Nicola Coughlan, and as a real Irish icon, she's using that spotlight to consistently remind people to support Palestine. And that is a perfect segue for me to remind people that, as always, I have multiple donation links in my description box for Palestine. There's an array of options in there. There's eSIMs, feminine hygiene products, aid for children, animal shelters. You can also donate to campus bail funds for university students that are opposing the war machine. And you can also stream HIND'S HALL by MACKLEMORE, as all of that song's proceeds will be donated to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East. I love James Cameron. He's one of my favorite directors. My roster tends to fluctuate a bit depending on who's most recently released a film. But right now I would say that my big 3 are Baz Luhrmann.
Bit of foreplay, you know, twinkle in the eye, the deed, you know, pregnancy.
James Cameron.
One of the lessons is caveat emptor.
And of course, Ridley Scott.
Fuck you, thank you very much, fuck you, go fuck yourself.
And if you are a romance girly and a James Cameron fan, there is absolutely no way to be introduced to a character like Lord Debling without going, ooh, wait a minute. Your vibe seems familiar.
The head of 20th Century Fox said, I like the story, it's a good script. Can we get all this tree-hugging hippie bullshit out of it? And I said, actually, no, because the reason I want to make the film is exactly because of the tree-hugging, hippie, hairy-legged, Birkenstocks-wearing bullshit.
Let's go through Lord Debling's arc, shall we? Penelope is alarmed by the idea of having to live with Portia for the rest of her life. I would feel the same.
I take comfort in knowing that you will always be here to take care of me.
Lord have mercy! This is some scurvy shit!
So she goes to Madame Delacroix to ask for a wardrobe upgrade so she can finally get a husband. You know, it's very important to wear the right outfit for one's spouse.
Pumpkin, do you think these clothes are really me?
Of course not, that's the point.
Madame Delacroix asks Penelope what it is that she wants and what she's looking for.
And does my lady have a certain suitor in mind?
And Penelope says she's going to be sensible, that she wants someone kind, and someone who will give her her privacy so she can carry on with her Lady Whistledown ongoings.
I should like to be sensible. Someone kind, who allows for my privacy for obvious reasons.
Penelope gets a makeover and wears green because of course she's going to wear green. She's a redhead. Anyone with a basic knowledge of color theory could have and should have told her to wear green ages ago.
It is not us they stare at.
But people are still being rude because what else did you expect from generationally wealthy English people with their non-existent class consciousness?
I would eat hand in hand if I had the occasion, but hey, that's terrorism.
What we come to learn about Lord Debling is that he's an environmentalist, he's vegetarian, and the Tawn thinks he's weird for that.
I've foregone eating the flesh of dead animals, and they barely tolerate me for that great sin.
I, on the other hand, like him the most because he's one of the only characters that I can psychologically relate to, especially in these first 4 episodes. He thinks the Tawn is ridiculous, and I agree.
I would certainly rather be predator than prey.
He thinks that preserving the environment and working to help endangered species is a much better use of his time than the incessant selfish monotony of the Tawn, and I agree.
Because I had a lot of things I was interested in terms of ocean conservation and sustainable agriculture, a lot of projects I was working on that I had to turn away from to go back into the saddle as a filmmaker.
James Cameron really has me out here ready to throw a fist every time I see corporations pushing single-use plastic because I worry they're going to end up in the belly of a whale. And also in all of our bodies as microplastics. Lord Debling has the level of critical thinking skills that make it so he can see through the nonsense of the world immediately around him. He has a discerning eye. That is why he notices that Penelope was stressed out at this ball. She wasn't doing well.
Are you well, Miss Featherington?
Yes, forgive me. Cold headache.
And what's-her-face was mean mugging her.
Nah, yo, hold my poodle. Hold my poodle. Hey, yo, what's up? Y'all got a problem?
From the ice cream or from the very congenial-looking miss with the sneer?
Also, him bothering to approach her in the first place and check to see how she's doing. What was it that Penelope said she wanted in a potential husband?
Someone kind.
Furthermore, that discerning eye of his, he seems to have some strong instincts about the hidden layers of Penelope's character.
And why do I have the feeling that you, in turn, know how to make one wither, if you so choose?
Me?
I'm taking that home to mama. Uh-oh.
Penelope being flirted with by a man that's not Colin for probably the first time in her life. Did she hold it together? Not one bit, and I love that for her.
I suppose... I did not.
I love that you want to work outside with me.
And then when Cressida rips Penelope's dress because she's a bully...
Your mother's so old that her breast milk is powdered. You breastfeed like this.
Lord Debling immediately goes to try to find a maid to help Penelope because he's a kind person.
Miss Featherington, I shall find a maid to help you.
Daddy?
And why do I have the feeling that you, in turn, know how to make one wither, if you so choose?
Episode 2, very sadly for me, no Lord Debling material. But we do have Colin trying to coach Penelope, teach her some things. I don't think he's all that good at it, considering how Lord Debling was already interested in Penelope before Colin tried to start teaching her things. Not to mention...
Now, no more talk of books. If you are to secure a match, you must engage in real life.
3 hours later.
Yeah, it's called flirting, you idiot.
But episode 2 does have the big blow up of the Tawn learning that Colin was helping Penelope to try to find a husband, which leads us into episode 3 with that clip they released right before part 1 premiered to the world.
You do not read Lady Whistledown?
I do not.
Lord Debling doesn't read gossip. He's a man with more important priorities, like saving an endangered bird species. Okay, icon.
I am making every effort to prevent the great dog from being eradicated.
And he doesn't judge Penelope for getting help from Colin. We love that.
I enlisted an eligible male friend to help me find a husband.
I say. Well done.
He knows what it's like to be judged for being different. The Tawn thinks he's weird for being vegetarian. Meanwhile, I think the Tawn is weird for living like a bunch of vain, insufferable, vapid parasites. We all have our own opinions now, don't we? And moreover, Lord Debling likes when Penelope is honest with him.
Rather dull one, if I am honest. Forgive me, I should not have said that.
Do not apologize. In fact, I find your frankness immensely refreshing.
That's hot. You know what else is hot? Saving your lady from harm and injury. Now, why does that feel familiar to me, a James Cameron fan? Of course, Penelope was a bit out of her depth with trying to lie about her interests, unlike some people who are very good at lying.
There is nothing I love more than grass.
So Penelope, having already been told by Lord Debling that he admired her frankness, she tells him the truth. She doesn't love grass. And what does he say? He wants her to be her own person. He doesn't want a carbon copy of himself, and he wants her to be honest. Lord Debling is nothing but green flags.
I want to be with someone who knows who they are and embraces their own peculiarity, as I do, as I believe you do as well.
I'm allergic to the sun.
You're allergic to the sun?
All these annoying Tawn people keep trying to get Penelope to stop reading her books, pretending to be someone else, but not Lord Debling. He likes that Penelope has a brain. He likes her just for who she is. You're a romance girly who wants to stay inside and read? Cool.
If I only ever talked about nature, my dinner party invitations would cease altogether. I do not wish to court someone exactly like myself.
Him talking to her in this poetic, symbolic language, using the love stories as a representation of him, asking her for consent to ask for Portia's permission to marry her. Ooh, in another world, this would have been the romance.
And how, dare I ask, might this fictional gentleman ask for the young lady's hand? Especially if she had no male relative.
The only reason this relationship doesn't work is because Penelope is already in love with Colin. She's already been in love with him since they met in that really cute flashback Pollen meet cute scene we apparently didn't need to see because you wanted to waste all this budget on extra characters and storylines that no one asked for and absolutely no one needed.
No one knows what it is. It's like this mad riddle that no one knows what it is, right?
Lord Debling is an environmentalist. He is too busy to get into trivial messes. He's not judgmental towards women who try to take charge of their own lives. He's got a good sense of humor.
How many yous are there exactly? Where do you hide them all?
And he values mutual honesty. Where is my Lord Debling spinoff where he goes on a nature quest and falls in love along the way?
I get super horny when I travel, and that's not my fault. That's science.
Where is it? Let me watch it. Or if you won't make it in live action, can someone please write the fic and let me know when it's been published?
What are those about?
These are, these are very exciting books.
Regardless of I, a James Cameron fan, being Lord Debling's hype woman, I do not want Penelope to end up with Lord Debling because that's not fair to either one of them. The whole spirit of Bridgerton, the fundamental essence of the show to exist in the first place, it's about people falling in love with each other in a world where it is not a given that you will be able to find a love match. If you're in the Tawn, you have these pressures and obligations to get married because none of these people have the class consciousness to burn this nonsense nonsense to the ground and make a new world. So marriage becomes a means of survival. If you don't find a love match, the best case scenario is to find someone that's kind, someone you can be good friends with, and you will ultimately treat one another very well. And that's what Penelope and Lord Debling would have had if and only if she didn't already have Mr. No Thought's head empty, living across the street and popping in and out of her life in between his very interesting traveling.
Look, I'm not used to paying attention to super boring, long stuff, okay?
Penelope asks Lord Debling if he anticipates the two of them being able to form a romantic love for one another, and he doesn't say yes. I will make it clear, though, he didn't say no either. What he said was that he already has a great deal of love for his environmentalist work, and I don't understand why some people want to give him a hard time for being honest. What do men do nowadays except lie and start podcasts?
I do not know. To be honest, my work has such a large portion of my heart, it may be difficult to make more space.
Then I went on a couple of years of actually becoming an overt activist and trying to help them, whether it was the Athabasca tar sands or down in Brazil with the Belamonte Dam and all that.
Lord Debling was absolutely in the right to not make false promises to Penelope. He finds her frankness refreshing, and that's exactly how I feel about him. What do these people in the marriage mart do except try to lie and manipulate the image of themselves just so they can quickly get matched up with someone? How about we appreciate the one man who's being upfront and honest? And when he realizes that Penelope is in love with Colin, because let's be real here, it's very obvious that she is, he was really nice about it. He said that he hoped she would find whatever it was she was searching for.
Whatever it is you are searching for, I do hope you find it. Good evening.
And what is Penelope searching for? Romantic love! She made that clear all throughout part 1. She shared that with Lord Debling when she talked about being drawn to love stories.
They are histories of connection, of hope for a better life.
She expressed reservations to her mother about accepting a proposal from Lord Debling, which Portia correctly guessed was because she was still holding out hope that she would be able to have romantic love.
Oh, don't tell me you're holding out for love.
Ugh. Why would anyone have a problem with Lord Debling being upfront and honest about his inability to provide Penelope with what she wants right then and there, just as she has demonstrated she's not the right fit for what he is looking for? If you play around with hypotheticals, let's pretend that the show exists beyond what we see. If there's a parallel universe where there's another timeline where Lord Debling and Penelope could have grown to love one another over time, maybe. They're both attractive, they have a decent amount of compatibility, but again, Bridgerton is about more than just compatibility.
You look especially beautiful tonight, Miss Featherington.
It's about love. It's about this extra spark, a je ne sais quoi. It's about people being magnets that are increasingly drawn to one another as their season progresses. I don't think the whole Colin jealousy arc, the copium Colin arc, any of that would have been effective if Lord Debling wasn't a total catch. He needed to have everything going for him. He's got money, he's of upstanding character, he's nice to Penelope, he thinks she's swell, they get along with one another, and they are compatible. That is why Colin starts seething. When he's scrambling in the carriage trying to act like Lord Debling wasn't a good option, that was copium. You saw Penelope chatting with multiple men in part 1. Some were shown on screen, and there is an implication that there would have been more than what we got to see. She even had something set up of a gentleman who was going to call on her, but we never actually saw that scene of him calling on her, but we have no reason to believe that that didn't happen. The only reason Colin started acting up the way that he did was because Lord Debling had everything in the world to offer Penelope for her to have a decent, satisfactory match on paper anyway. The only thing Lord Debling couldn't offer her right then and there immediately was romantic love, because Colin had to get his head out of his backside and realize, oh wait, maybe I'm in love with Penelope Featherington. Mr. No Thought's head empty just needed the Tawns version of James Cameron to show up and jump scare him into finally making a move on her.
Life is too short for that, is it not? Lord Remington has asked to call on me tomorrow.
That is excellent. Do you like him?
I did enjoy myself.
You cannot marry that man. He will leave you, and he is too particular, and he is just not right for you, Ben.
You can't make love to a salad.
How long have you known Penelope, Colin? Colin the clown couldn't cope with the thought of a dashing environmentalist wifing up Penelope Featherington, so maybe Colin shippers should thank Lord Debling. It wasn't just Violet nudging Colin towards having a single thought in his head.
It is only a shame but you might miss the fruits of your labors. I hear Penelope may be getting a proposal tonight.
Lord Debling had to be a fantastic option, or else this wouldn't have worked. If it was that simple to make Colin jealous, the hairs on the back of his neck would have started standing up once Penelope was just talking to men in the ton in general. Lord Debling saw that Penelope and Colin were wrapped up in each other, and he said respectfully, I don't have room in my life for that type of mess. That is your shared mess. I need to go save some endangered birds. But every happiness to you both.
But hey, every happiness to you both.
Thank you all for watching. If any of you were unexpectedly charmed by Lord Debling, make sure that you stream James Cameron's Avatar movies for the peak environmentalist romance vibes. Truly, James Cameron is in fact a romance girly, and not enough people talk about that. New Bridgerton videos are coming whenever I finish them. I don't know yet. Also, I think I'm publishing this video sometime around my birthday, so if you would like to give me a birthday present, subscribe to my channel because the goal is to hit 30K. I've said this in older videos, but in case some of you are new here, once I hit 30K, I will be getting a new shirt for Kimiko. That's my cat. And I might offer up an incentive for a particular type of video as a thank you for the audience that's tuning in. Something Regency romance related. I'm still brainstorming ideas, but just stick around, see what happens. I have 1 or 2 other Bridgerton videos in mind to work on before part 2 is released, but the timeline of things is a bit unclear for me because I'm also going to be going out of town for a bit in June, so I don't know how that's going to affect the timeline of me being able to pre-record and prep videos, but I will see you in the next one. Bye.
More than they are, to be sure.
That's right. You're mine.